Good morning, friends. I'm Arnab Basu, author of this book, Pseudo Ecotourism in the Shadow of the Bengal Tiger. By training, I'm an environmentalist, and by profession, I'm a sustainability consultant. So this is what I'm doing for the last 20 years to make my living as a sustainability consultant. Besides my profession, I also travel to forests and mountains as a hobbyist, ecotourist, and also a wildlife photographer. So far, probably I have traveled to more than 200 such ecotourism destinations across 8 countries in 3 continents. So this book, Pseudo Ecotourism in the Shadow of the Bengal Tiger, which is published by Kyoto around 4 months back, is basically an outcome of my last 10 years of ecotourism activities, mainly in subcontinental forests. That is the forest of India, Nepal, Bangladesh, and Bhutan, these 4 countries. Although when I picked up this hobby of ecotourism, I didn't have any intention to write a book about it. All I was doing, maintaining a travelogue and keeping a journal about what I saw and whom I met. Then, at the end of 2018, I was in a train trip from Dhaka to Khulna districts of Bangladesh with an intention to explore the Bangladesh Sundarban. And something unfortunate had happened in that train incident, in the train journey, which I don't want to talk about much about that because that incident has been narrated in this book. But all here I want to say that because of that train incident, I had to abort my Sundarban trip and I got stuck in Bangladesh for some time. That provided me a kind of opportunity to further introspect my hobby of ecotourism. So that incident kind of compelled me to ask a question that why we urban affluent folks pick up any hobby in spite of having a well-paid decent corporate day job. There could be many reasons, but one reason emerged in front of me at that point of time, that very obvious reason, that we pick up hobby to achieve fame and glory. We pick up hobby because we want to be the talking point in our social circle, to become the most important person in the room, most interesting person in the room, rather. That doesn't mean that we don't achieve fame and glory in our corporate day job. But the corporate yardstick of fame and glory somehow doesn't satisfy our natural self. So once the editor of this book drew my attention to another book on history of ethics. And in that book, a theory of sophists, a 500 BC Greek philosopher teacher was mentioned. And in that theory, according to that theory, that within every conventional human, there's a natural human. That natural human doesn't have any standard of morality. And that's the reason that natural human, free from all kind of constraints put upon that human by other persons. According to the theory, natural human are either wolf or sheep, so either prey or predator. When I started introspecting about my hobby of ecotourism, I could realize that this natural self of human put us in a kind of dilemma in the materialistic world. The dilemma between what we want to achieve, what we are achieving actually already in our corporate day life, and what we want to achieve as our natural self. Now, this dilemma I have witnessed in my decade-long journey as an ecotourist, in my ecotourism journey. I have witnessed actually that how this dilemma create an obsession for nature and non-human life forms, and how this obsession actually make human desperate to achieve fame and glory, and how this desperation for achieving this fame and glory make human arrogant. The human arrogance of that we are the supreme species in nature. So I have witnessed this dilemma, this obsession, this arrogance in many people whom I have interacted in my last 10 years journey of ecotourism, and I kind of illustrated those characters in my book. Uh, now, the question is that actually I am a sustainability professional, and I have at the same time I have started noticing that what's the fate of this arrogance. Exactly 1 year later of my that aborted Bangladesh Sundarban trip, I made another visit to the Indian Sundarban, the West Bengal Sundarban. And in that trip, probably I had the most horrific experiences of my life. Again, I don't want to elaborate, I don't want to give away that incident, that those incidents are quite elaborately narrated in this book. But all I here want to say that that incident made one thing very prominent in front of me, that we human are nothing but just another life forms in this nature. Definitely we are not supreme species. Now, being a sustainability professional, I could not help myself but making an attempt to finding the correlation between all those things. The correlation between this dilemma, this obsession, this arrogance with ecotourism. How this dilemma, this obsession, this arrogance influence ecotourism, affects ecotourism, transform ecotourism into something else. What are the purposes of ecotourism, if I may ask? The purposes of ecotourism is not just getting entertained, not just becoming the most interesting person in the room, not just achieving fame and glory. Purposes of ecotourism are to get aware about environment and ecosystem, and also to experience the authenticity of nature. However, what I experienced in my journey of a decade, the way we are perceiving this ecotourism / wildlife photography as a means of achieving fame and glory, a means to become the most interesting person in the room, the means to become the talking point in our social, some kind of defeating this purpose. And this scenario becomes even more ugly and dangerous, I would say, even more at sometimes unethical, when this whole purposes of ecotourism and wildlife photography is just focused on one single species. In the subcontinental forest, that single species is Bengal tiger. A decade-long journey, I have interacted with many ecotourists and wildlife photographers like me, 10 years, a long time. And I've seen majority of these ecotourists and wildlife photographers' only aspiration in life is see a tiger in the forest or photograph a tiger in the forest. Ecotourist, wildlife photographer, nature guide, resort owners, tour operator, even forest department officials are kind of engaged in a race with each other to achieve this so-called fame and glory and to become obsessed about tiger more and more. This is not a healthy sign for forest, for conservation, for ecosystem, and definitely for the animal itself. Tiger is an apex predator, is a protector of the ecosystem. Now, this approaches of ecotourism and wildlife photography is transforming tiger into a mere object of photography, a trophy to be possessed by ecotourists. And I must confess over here, I was also one of them when I started this. Okay, so, I was definitely one of them, but this journey of transformations this journey of ecotourism kind of transformed me and compelled me to ask these questions about this type of ecotourism, which I called pseudo ecotourism. So this is the core concept about my book, that why we are getting involved in pseudo ecotourism and what could be the solution of that. I have coined a term, actually, inclusive ecotourism in this book, which is a kind of alternative, kind of substitute actually of pseudo ecotourism, where I strongly believe that in ecotourism is actually a very powerful tool to promote the concept of sustainability, a powerful influencer. provided it is inclusive ecotourism, where every human and non-human life form have equal place, not the pseudo ecotourism, which is focused on one particular species. So thank you all of you for listening to me. So this book is available in Amazon and many other platforms. It's available there also. So get a copy of this book if you want to read, and then let me know actually what you think about it. Thank you very, very much for listening to me.
Thank you so much, Mr. Basu.